Hello and welcome to the Sharpening Report. I am your host, Josh Peck. I am very excited about today's show. We have returning guest and very good friend of the show, Terry Sacka, financial expert, AAMS, and he's from Cornerstone Asset Metals, which you guys have probably heard me talk about quite a few times, but he's not only a financial expert, he's also a prophecy expert too. And man, we have an amazing show for you today. Welcome back to the show, Terry. How are you doing?
Josh, it's such a pleasure. Doing wonderful. Happy New Year to you.
Thank you. You too. Yeah, it's always great having you on, and I'm excited to get into the show. So, for those who are brand new to the channel, please subscribe. It's one of the best ways that you can help support us on YouTube and Rumble. If you're on YouTube, click the bell to turn on all notifications. And if you haven't been seeing my videos come up recently, a lot of that has been happening to channels that I subscribe to as well. I don't know what YouTube is doing, but just check the bell again. Click on it. Make sure you have all notifications turned on. And of course, the best place to get any of this stuff anyway is just dailyrenegade.com, and then we don't have to deal with the YouTube shenanigans. But let's jump in today's show. So, Terry, lots has been going on in the world, and especially finances, things that Trump is doing. So, what do you have for us today?
Yeah, and I think from the prophetic side, we're seeing a lot of prophecies coming to play out. And it's very interesting because we have a very positive outlook, right? And many of us are feeling relaxed. We're thinking, okay, everything is going to be okay. One thing they don't understand, and please know this is not doomsday. This is just information that we can prepare ourselves properly for. But he was set up. So over the last handful of years, there has been a big setup on taking down a lot, our food supply, energy, geopolitics. And so there's stuff happening behind the scenes, which I think is really important for a lot of people to know because they can properly get themselves positioned. I do believe that the policies that Trump has will be incredible, but they will take, a couple years, probably into the third year before they actually come to fruition. And so it'll be very important for us to know what's going on. And I figured it'd be good to give a 2025 outlook so we are prepared. And I'm going to give it probably a little different spin than most people are hearing because I'm going to give you the straight skinny of what's going on globally as well in the United States.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's important to know too, because it's not like, when a new president comes in, they're not just given a clean slate. They have to deal with anything that happened before. So yeah, it's going to take, just realistically, it makes sense that it's going to take a little while to clean a lot of this stuff up.
And they're just firebombs. I mean, he's walking into a hornet's nest. There is so much trouble. And he even, says it, we were just handed over a mess. And I think that's an understatement, but they're moving so quickly. He knows what he's dealing with. I mean, we have not just inflation still rising. I'm not talking just egg prices. We have inflation are going to rage going into the summer. It's not stopping, and it could go to some extent hyper if things don't play down correctly. But what's really a big deal that many don't focus on, we are in an epic credit bubble. This is a credit bubble of the biggest magnitude I've ever seen all through history, largest in history, really. Our dollar is not what you think it is. And I'm going to get at the end of this interview, I'm going to explain the victory through some alternative things that are happening, especially in crypto, that are going to be very valuable as to why we can get through this. But our dollar is not what people think it is. Gold doesn't go up. Gold is nearing $3,000 an ounce. A lot of people think, oh, we just missed it. It's not even getting started when they understand where crypto comes in. But it's not that gold is going up. It's just the dollar is going down. Regardless what they say the dollar value is, it's not what you think it is. We're in a massive debt trap. And the credit bubble is going to pop. And I do believe the policies making us crypto capital of the world can help alleviate some of that. But this credit bubble is of epic proportion. Now, in a debt trap, Trump wants interest rates to be lower, but they really need to be raising the interest rates right now. Inflation is still really hot. Many know because we're buying the goods at the grocery store and we see it. And understand the great taking is still there. I talk about that a lot. That is bankruptcy laws set in the Commercial Code 5 and 6, where cash in the bank, your stocks, your bonds do not belong to you. You are an unsecured creditor, and all of those assets are actually considered collateral to the debt of the financial system. So for many people that have all their assets tied into stocks, bonds, annuities, cash in the bank, we still have to be very cautious. Although I think having a businessman like President Trump there could be very successful, he has to navigate some really, really ugly territory to get us there. And we have to fight inflation. The number one area to fight inflation is in the energy industry. He's going to drill, 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 as he says, but the energy industry has been totally sabotaged over the last few years. Lower energy is needed to stop the growing food inflation. So there's going to be a lag here where the inflation is going to continue as we try to transition into energy independence. Trump knows, but executing is harder than it seems. And any great nation in history always is energy independent. That's why you have to ask the question, why were they sabotaging our energy? And it's not just electric vehicles. There's far more to it, because they were taking us down to where we would be basically slaves to a global system. World Economic Forum, we all hear the Great Reset. We all hear about, the one world order concept. That was really the goal of the last administration, and it was going to continue, and they would have finalized it through Harris. Now we can stop it. We become energy independent. It'll be great. But in the process of doing that, he will have to print trillions upon trillions of dollars initially. And if he does get his way, even though he's not in control, to lower interest rates, the combination of lowering interest rates and printing of trillions is going to be extraordinarily positive for gold and silver. And it's going to be lagging on the actual stock market. The returns won't even compare. The Trump policy, he's an interesting guy, and many don't know this, but he's a weak dollar president. I know we like to talk about the strength of America, but he knows if we have a weak US dollar, our goods and services can be sold worldwide. And right now, we have the largest trade deficits ever. Vietnam, China, over $1 trillion. They're gaining by us bringing products in, and Trump wants to reverse that and get our products to go out. But in the process of being a weak dollar president, that's extremely bullish for gold and silver, why you're seeing the prices continue to rise, why that asset is going to be a great hedge and protection. And a lot of people are thinking, I'll be okay in the stock market. It's not too late. IRAs, annuities, even annuities, the penalties they charge you to get out, it'll cost you like a $2 move in silver to make up those penalties. You're going to see silver outperform the S&P probably 90% over the next 12 to 18 months because of this transition. And so it's a really big deal. But where the underlying part of this is, which I find very interesting, you don't hear a lot of talk about it, is in the bond market. The bond market is in chaos. Printing, but who's buying? We are issuing unbelievable amounts, trillions upon trillions in U.S. treasuries, but nobody's buying them. All of our banks were forced to take in the treasuries. And here's where the problem lies, and many are not aware. That 10-year treasury yield is rising. It could go to double-digit turf if we don't get ahead of this and fast. And when it goes into double-digit turf, the banks are going to be under so much pressure you're not even going to believe. And we have such an issue still with inflation. Many, many people are living off of credit cards. And especially at those high rates, I loved what I saw come out today where they want to put a cap on interest rates for credit cards at 10%. Because right now they're like 29% and higher. And I remember back in the day, we used to see a 29% loan. That was a mob shark loan, right? And now credit cards are charging it, but so many people are living off of credit cards. We need to slow down the inflation, bring back economy to the United States. That's exactly what Trump wants to do, but it's a matter of actually getting policies in place and walking it out. And so I think we could be near the third year of his term before we start seeing the fruits of that, which is a big deal. My concern, Josh, and you do a lot of really cool deep dive stuff on the Bible and the ancient times. And, Christians are interested, what they should be. I think that's some of the most interesting parts of the Bible, to be honest. But so many Christians are not preparing. And this isn't fear tactic. Most of these companies out there are trying to scare you. It's not about being afraid. It's just about being in the right place at the right time, but they're not preparing. They're in complete denial. I call almost a normalcy bias, that what I'm talking about is actually happening. It will be okay in the long run. I really hope that, and I really believe in that, but it's going to take time to get there. And first, we're going to have to go through some fire. During this cycle of going through fire over the next few years, being properly positioned in your assets is going to save your rear end and then allow you to sell off at profit and then reallocate into the new system that's being created. And some of that I'll get to as part of the crypto area. But the banking system is not what we think. So when I get into the bonds and I talk about the 10-year treasury, banks are in serious trouble. Bond holding, especially at the 10-year rate, goes over 5%, along with the 600 billion in commercial real estate that these banks are stuck to. You're talking potentially crashing hundreds and hundreds of banks. They cannot afford the losses in the bonds that they're holding, along with the commercial real estate. And this is real. This is happening right this very minute. And they're just not telling people that we're literally on that thin sheet of ice. And there's a lot of maneuvers that need to take place to get us out of it. They're building protocols. And this is what I find interesting, not just clients that I have, people involved in the banking system. They're telling me they're building the protocols behind the scenes. They've been doing it for about the last couple of years. And it's to build to a new digital system. We keep hearing the term Great Reset. It's coming. Now, thank goodness it's not going to come through the World Economic Forum in the way they wanted it to. But the Great Reset's still happening because these currencies are crashing. And many of us have seen that. I think I showed you before the Economist magazine cover from 1984, where the Phoenix is standing on top of all the world currencies and they're burning. And then around the Phoenix's neck, which is a birth of death, right? Around the Phoenix's neck was a gold medallion that said 2018, and it had a digital symbol on it. Very interesting. So they were forecasting by 2018 we'd be in this new financial system. And I contend probably technology held that down. I think now that AI is coming in, it's going to radically change this. But they're still planning this Great Reset. And this is where it gets interesting, especially with China, because they're the plays that they're making, and now the tariffs are being placed. You're starting to see and understand where I'm getting at. This is coming, and they know it. So that said, this was all a setup. I do believe that they were going to crash the whole entire system in the wrong direction, going into central control. Trump said he wants to give us the choice of what currency we want to use, whether it be paper money or these crypto digital dollars. Now there's the RLUSD out of Ripple. This is really a big deal. But knowing it was a setup for him to walk in and have so much to deal with, the odds of him succeeding would be less. I have hope the brilliant minds behind him, they're going to. But wow, what we're going to be walking through. It's going to lead to this Great Reset. We are getting a new financial system, period. It's coming. And I know a lot of Christians, Josh, they're all hooked into this idea of a quantitative financial system. A lot of prophets even talking about it, the QFS, everything is going QFS. The problem is they're linking that to something called Nasara Gasara. And it's an old law that's been circulating where all of our debts are going to be wiped out, and we're going to start off fresh. They're going to eliminate taxes, which they might eliminate income taxes. He talked about doing that. There is a bill in Congress that will eliminate the income tax, and we'll start raising revenue through tariffs. But the QFS, like a lot of Christians think, is not what is really happening. I think they're mixing up a little bit of the QFS to the new crypto dominant great reset in the digital system. It's almost similar, but it's not tied to Nasara Gasara. So if it happened, hey, that's great. But there's no indication globally. And you know me. I mean, I have 5 financial licenses. Like, I'm involved in international business. I see what they're doing around the world, and there's zero indication of an Nasara Gasara effect. Now, we may have some forms of that, I can see, but we need the money. We can't just wipe out debt. They need debt repaid, especially in the banking system. So how are they going to do that? Now, this, Josh, is where it gets exciting. This is the positive part of this. Why gold and silver are going to be so valuable, because now, back in the day when gold would go up, so here at gold at $3,000 an ounce, many never thought it would get this high. Wait until it's 5, 7, 8,000 an ounce. They won't believe it. But in the day when gold was high, it showed that the banking system was in trouble. Well, now that's going to flip, because we're getting into a full crypto world. Now, many people, I don't know if you talk about, do you talk about cryptos a lot?
Not a lot. I'm not too familiar with it, but I'm definitely like open to it. I know it's a really important thing. That's one of the things I definitely need to get on.
Hey everyone. Concerning the economically unstable times that we live in, it is a great idea to convert some of your savings into real money. Now, there is a big difference between real money and what we call money, which is actually currency. So our dollar is currency, which fluctuates. Real money, like silver, is a store of value over time. The best way to think of it is like this. If you had saved $1,000 in cash back in the late 60s, the late 1960s, that $1,000 would still be $1,000 today, but it would buy you significantly less today due to inflation. Now, if you saved that same $1,000 in silver back in the 1960s, it would be around $28,000 today. So one of the best ways to protect your purchasing power is in real money, more specifically, silver. Now, you can buy and have the metal shipped discreetly to your door, and what most people don't know is that you can actually convert your IRA or even your 401k into physical silver rather than having all your life savings tied up in the paper fiat system, which is, of course, subject to hyperinflation. So go to dailyrenegade.com right now and click on the Cornerstone Asset Metals banner and sign up to get your free silver report. One of the financial experts will speak with you and find out the best way to protect your savings going forward in these uncertain times. You can also click on the link in the description below that goes directly to cornerstoneassetmetals.com. Make sure you tell them that Josh Peck at Daily Renegade sent you. It is time to stop trusting the evil beast financial system of the world and protect your assets today.
Well, I'll just do a quick brief on this. There are a few different forms of cryptos. Something called a meme coin. A meme coin is nothing more than a collectible like Doge or the Trump coin, or there's a million and millions of meme coins. They do nothing. They're really just created. And if you get millions of people going into them, you can make money at them, sure, but they also crash down to zero really fast too. They're really nothing more than like collecting a baseball card. They provide no real technical service. That's a meme coin. That's what most people think when it comes to crypto. And then they always think Bitcoin. Well, it's Bitcoin. Bitcoin I want. Bitcoin's the setup. Bitcoin is not going to be involved in the future. It is merely a digital form of like gold or storage of value. And if you're going to store any value, you want to be storing physical gold for many reasons, because as we go into this new digital system, if you have all of your wealth in the digital system and it crashes down, and don't think in the future it can't, you're going to be left with nothing, especially if the great taking takes place. All of a sudden, you're wiped out. Where physical gold and silver in IRAs or in 401ks, retirement accounts stashed away, you're going to continue to grow in profit, and it will dramatically outperform the stock market going forward while we go through this. We are going into, so you have the meme coins. Then you have something called stable coins. Stable coins are a form of digital dollar, a government dollar. We just approved a few weeks ago. It's called the RLUSD out of Ripple. It will be a digital dollar used by the government. Now, stable coins, though, have to be backed up by an asset. And globally, we are going either to a stable coin with a government or a CBDC, many have heard of. CBDC is central controlled, government 100% controlled, behavior control. Biden was trying to initiate CBDC where everything over $600 was reported to the IRS. They would control our behavior. They would control everything. Stable coins are a government corporate venture. Now, granted, down the road, it can be abused in the wrong hands. And so you're going to see countries either go full totalitarian, communistic CBDC, or they'll go stable coin that are backed up by assets. This is where it gets interesting. Trump said initially he wants to back up our digital dollar with US dollars. Well, everybody knows the US dollars really aren't worth anything. They've lost most of their value. One lady in his orbit is Judy Shelton, and I think she'll be coming in soon. She's talking about doing a gold back bond and then going into the crypto world, and not just gold back bond. Here's where it gets interesting. Everything is moving into tokenization. So you have your meme coins, which are just fun, stable coins, which will be government digital dollars and not the paper currencies we're using. Then you have what we call altcoins, which are really utilities. These type of coins actually provide technological services like Apple Pay, for instance, or Venmo right now. We can do digital to digital transfer. Tokenization is where, like, when we go to a store and, the QSIP code or the barcode where you scan something, that's like a QSIP code. Every asset in the world is driving into tokenization, meaning it will go onto a blockchain. So when people hear the word blockchain, just think of a long chain. And blockchain means when a buy and a sell takes place, it's time stamped on that chain link, and they know who the buyer is, know who the seller is, know what the terms were, and it can never be changed or erased. That's pretty cool stuff. I'll get into a little later on what that means for loss of freedom, but blockchain is where it's all going. Even Larry Fink of BlackRock, they're the largest financial institution in the world, probably manage about $16 trillion, if not more. He came out just a couple weeks ago and said, as soon as regulations pass, and this is what's important, they're going to pass a new tax bill and regulations for crypto. They're going to say, what is a stock? What's a bond? What's this? What's a currency? Once regulations pass, Larry Fink said he wants every stock, every bond, every financial contract, every real estate contract on blockchain and tokenized. So they'll all be a token. Now, this is where it gets pretty cool for us that diversify. Tokenization is how we can save America. China's going to do it if we don't. So whoever is first to it will control the global economy. That's why Trump's saying he wants to make us crypto capital of the world. He knows exactly what he's talking about. If we become the dominant technology that runs this stock transactions, bond transactions, because it's all going on blockchain, they all have to use a token. And the token is really just like an item, like almost a coin, but it's an item that you use for the transaction. If we control it, then the world will always be using our digital dollars. And now these are companies like XRP, XLM, HBAR. XRP is going to be unbelievable. So if someone wants to do anything, you own a little XRP. It's about $2.50 right now. Down the road, about 10, 15 years, when it's $1,000 to $10,000, you can literally become a millionaire by owning it. And it's going to happen. Now, XRP is institutional. So it's going to be banks to banks, stocks, bonds, all of the financials. XLM is being used right now. Mind you, these are older cryptos. These have been around a long time. They're what they call ISO 20022 compliant, meaning the world has seeing that their chains are solid, they work right. XLM is being used peer to peer, even in like India. So instead of me paying you cash, they're paying them through the XLM blockchain. They can't be stolen. Nobody can come rob them. And then they can go to a bank or wherever they go to do the exchange, and then they can get their crypto turned into cash or forms of money. Interesting. And the CEO of Bank of America even said about 2 weeks ago, as soon as regulations are passed, we will accept crypto at the bank. So you can see where it's going. So XLM is peer to peer. XRP is bank to bank, institution. HBAR, which is really interesting, is huge for tokenization. They will be in the use case on HBAR and how many big, huge banks and projects are coming on. They're going to be tokenizing these assets. Smart contracts, right down to a gym membership, will be on a blockchain. I'm talking, this is how deep it gets. Gaming. Like there's millions upon millions of people that game around the world online, right? They can buy like little gems, like you could buy this emerald gem and it has value in the game. Those gems will be on blockchain, be tokenized, become ownership. They can buy and sell with value on the game. Then extend it to baseball cards, NFT, digital baseball cards, digital football cards, hockey cards, on and on, music. Tom Brady, great quarterback, has a company called Autograph. They're going to create NFTs for all the sports, which are digital, one of a kind cards. Even musicians like Beyonce and all these, crazy musicians, they can put one of their songs on blockchain, and then they get into something called fractionalization. So let's say you own Beyonce's top song, and I hate using her because she's totally evil, but I'm just, everyone knows the name. Let's say her song is out there and it's on blockchain, it's on a token. Fractionalization means they can cut up the ownership of that song to 10 different people, and 10 different people will own the value of it. It's going to get so huge on tokenization and fractionalization. We can now own, for instance, the Empire State Building. As they sell the Empire State Building, they put it on blockchain and tokenize it. 10,000 people can own a piece of the Empire State Building. This is getting so deep. They're even talking about tokenizing the Amazon. That's a little weird, right? Because they're going to say, here's a grid square of Earth that belongs on a certain token. It gets unbelievable. Put it this way in value. We're talking like $2 quadrillion of asset value that are going to go on tokenization and get fractionalized. So they'll splice it up. So one person owns that or artwork, for instance. Think of art. You own a famous painting. You can tokenize it, fractionalize it, means splice it up into different pieces. 10 people can own ownership of a Monet if they truly wanted to. This gets big because when you think of a quadrillion, we're talking 999 trillion. That's an incredible amount of money. It's going there. It's not a matter of if, it's already being implemented. 80% of Japanese banks are already on the XRP blockchain. So the digital dollar known as RLUSD that just came live a few weeks ago from Ripple, they use the XRP blockchain. And the reason they're doing this, they even found, where was it? What's his name? The financial institution, it's off my head. One of the big finance companies, they're on the blockchain, they're using it, and they saved $200 million in fees in 1 year, right? Wait until you get State Street, BlackRock, Vanguard, Fidelity, all of them get on the blockchain, because instead of it taking days and days for a wire to take place, and the fees are expensive. We all do. If you ever do wires, $30, $40, $50. XRP happens in 3 seconds, the transaction, and it costs pennies. So somebody like Fidelity will probably save 500 million, $1 billion in a year in fees alone. This is why they're going to go to tokenization, and fractionalization just basically expands that. And that's where this gets interesting, and why what's coming to America is so huge, and why, if we control the technologies, which all of these cryptos are United States companies, you see. And so it forces them to kind of use our digital dollar. We stay in control. Unbelievable stuff. But if we're in control of it, Trump even laid out, and I think in the tax law, they're going to say this. Trump said, if we own crypto that is a United States company, we're not going to pay capital gains tax on our profits. Huge, right? That's 30%. You make $1 million, you save 300 grand. They know it's coming. As soon as regulations pass this May, you are going to see an explosion on these asset values. Now, here's where it gets interesting. These utility cryptos, meaning their technology that allows these transactions to happen, data points showing buy, sell, ownership, they will be a wealth transfer of epic proportion. I'm talking the United States can literally make hundreds of trillions of dollars and put, let's say XRP, for instance. I think it's possible XRP, XLM, HBAR could be reserves for the United States government. So let's say they go in and they buy 1 billion of each token. Right now it's only $2. XRP goes up to 1,000, it goes up to $10,000 of value, which it will eventually. The United States will have tens and hundreds of trillions of dollars in wealth created out of thin air. This is why it gets interesting, because Trump knows this, and the media is not doing a very good job explaining it. It's not Bitcoin. Now, they use Bitcoin, they say Bitcoin. That's another conversation for a different day. I think Bitcoin is a scam in the sense that 99% of the transactions are institutional. They're suckering retail in, and they're going to dump out on them and then use that wealth to buy land and other assets, tangible assets like gold, silver. When I talk about fractionalization, when they splice up values of assets, that's where gold comes in. A lot of these stable coins, each stable coin is going to be backed up by gold, and they're going to fractionalize that gold. So let's say one stable coin will have 0.001% value of gold in it. Now, gold, instead of being a liability to the banking system saying, hey, you're collapsing, high gold prices are going to actually encourage and strengthen the country's currency. So you can see why gold eventually, and I've been told this by insiders, gold could be $20,000 an ounce. I mean, silver will be hundreds of dollars an ounce, because they're finite tangible assets that the world needs, especially silver. And so this is how it's evolving as the governments all this year, and it's all happening this year. Once the United States passes that regulation, all the rest of the world follows suit, and you're going to see explosions take place in these markets. They're not as volatile as the meme coins. So the meme coins, the collectibles, yeah, they go up and down. If you're going to do that, be very careful. Stable coins, there's no reason to, because they never move. They don't go up and down. It's like one RLUSD digital dollar is $1. It doesn't go up and down, you see. But the tokens of the blockchain they use, like XRP and such, they will go up in value, because there's only so many tokens available on the blockchain system. And as they slowly burn away, the values will rise. So in walk tariffs. And so you hear people talk about tariffs and why this is happening. It's all part of the Great Reset. All this digitization is part of the Great Reset. Tariffs are real. Now, in some cases, he used them as a way to negotiate. So with Canada and Mexico, he said, I'm placing tariffs, and then 2 days later, they backed off. China, we put the tariffs on, and we're going to continue. In other countries, we will too, because of trade deficits. Tariffs will continue to grow. They will be essential to rebuilding American manufacturing. So what you're seeing Trump do, which is so brilliant, is why you need a businessman, by placing tariffs on countries, instead of building automobiles in Mexico, they're going to put the plants in America. They'll go to Tennessee, they'll go to Georgia, they'll go to Detroit, they'll go other places. There's companies right now, massive amount of companies in Canada that are now coming to America to build their products. So think about that for we the people. Bring manufacturing back to the United States, control the crypto world and wealth. We go to work at these manufacturing plants, making really good wages. We create economy and boom. And I'm talking everybody, Josh, has a chance to make wealth once this plays out. But in walks the dilemma with China and the tariffs and the Great Reset. And here's where I'm kind of interested that, well, I know why the media is not telling us. China, with the tariffs, they're getting their citizens to buy gold. They're saying, turn your Chinese currency into the bank. We'll give you physical gold. Now, many people are like, well, and they're giving it to almost near spot. Well, why were they doing that? Won't that hurt the Chinese currency, right? Well, they know the American exchanges. This is why owning physical gold and silver in retirement accounts and changing annuities out that you're losing on inflation anyway. I mean, heck, annuity pays like 7%. Inflation's like 10, 12% real. You're losing money every year. Gold is going to be used in the Great Reset, not just to back up these stablecoin assets, but they're using it because they know the Western exchanges in London and Chicago here in America have been manipulating the gold and silver prices through fake paper contracts. So they've sold like silver. They sold like 500 ounces on paper for 1 real ounce in the vault. That's not good, right? It's fake. We have about 2 weeks of physical silver in the depositories in the vault. That's it. I mean, that's how valuable silver will become. But they're getting their citizens to buy physical gold. And people are like, well, that hurts their currency. Why would they do that? They're forcing the Western exchanges to revalue gold and silver at its real number, its real value to the currency we call M2 supply that's out there in the world. They know by doing this, we are forced to allow gold to rise. If we don't, gold will have a value in China at, let's say, 5,000. And if it's valued at 3,000 in America, they will come over and take every physical gold and silver ounce out of our vaults in the West and take it back to the East. It's called an arbitrage. They'll buy it here, take it back there, sell it for higher, boom. They know what they're doing. Now, China is doing this part of the Great Reset to combat the tariffs that we're placing on them. So they're like, forget the currency. They know these currencies, as I explained on that Economist cover. They know all these currencies are getting ready to crash and burn. Usher in the new digital financial system, Great Reset, QFS, however you want to define. And they don't care about the currency. They want their citizens to own hard, tangible assets, commodities. Why we're walking into a commodity super cycle over the next 10 years, because at the end of the day, whoever owns the gold, the energy, the liquid natural gas, the oil, you name it, silver. I mean, we put 30 kilograms of silver in every electric vehicle. So as solar panels, you name it, as this is happening, the Chinese are smart enough to get their people to own physical assets as these currencies crash through this Great Reset. Americans are not being told this. They're being fooled. And we stand a chance of losing a lot of value, if not a great taking take place. And that's why I'm so passionate about getting people to be aware of it. Because at the end of the day, regardless, silver outperforms that S&P over the next 18 months. It's just going to, and dramatically. So why not be in physical silver in a depository, a physical asset you own in your IRA or annuity or such? Later on, after this is over, sell it off at the profit, reallocate into other things. It'll be amazing. But they're doing it. India's doing it. They're going to take all of our physical metal if we don't appreciate that price. This great reset's coming. The global realignment of financial system is coming once regulations pass. And so dealing with inflation, kind of wrapping all this up, when you deal with inflation and all the trouble that's coming for the next 2 years, if we successfully transfer into this digital system, we can make hundreds of trillions of dollars of wealth, pay off our national debt, invest into our infrastructure. I mean, this is an incredible opportunity. Well, here's the problem. We will save America this way, but we will lose our freedom. At the end of the day, a full digital system, who's kidding who, fallen into the wrong hands in the future will be, and this is why many people are against crypto. Oh, I can't put my hands on it. I don't want it. I get it. I'm with you. Let's make money though. And what we're doing is you're going to see people profiting in crypto, and they're going to be buying physical silver because they understand the real value of silver is just going to explode. So we will lose in the process of saving America, because if we don't become crypto capital, we collapse. We're in more debt than any nation in the history of the world. Our obligations, our infrastructure is falling apart. If we do not do this and take the lead from the world, we collapse. So Trump knows this, is why he's saying it and why we're going to lead the way. And to take it away from China, there's our success. But the problem is, once we fall into the wrong hands politically, and hopefully we don't, maybe we get another 10 years, maybe we get Vance in there after this, right? If we fall into the wrong hands politically, that digital system will be used to monitor everything we do, and they can actually control our behavior. So I still believe down the road, the whole concept of mark of the beast, we get prophetic about it. I see why. And then here's the really crazy part. Trump announced a $500 billion investment with all these tech giants about AI. You hear that? They're called Stargate. That is full 1984 from George Orwell. Larry Ellis is out there bragging, yeah, we can have cameras on every street corner and we'll be able to stop crime and we're going to use it to create vaccines for cancer and blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, okay. At the end of the day, that's George Orwell, because they will control everything. So it's kind of a catch-22. We save America, we empower ourselves in wealth, but then we lose a lot of our freedoms because of the digital control. I mean, even Washington State's passing a law. If you ever got caught speeding, they were going to put a speed monitor in your car that reported back to the government. I know. And this is the kind of stuff that's coming. So the way I look at it, let's take advantage of what they're doing. Build wealth in assets outside their system. So if you want to, with free cash, you want to do some crypto, take the profits and buy physical silver. In retirement accounts, I'd be buying physical silver. I'd stay away from the retirement accounts that do crypto. The assets they invest in are not the same. And you want crypto outside of someone else's control. It's a very sensitive thing. Owning crypto is important. I get it. But it better be outside of an exchange, because the world debt is unbelievable. They know the currencies are burning. It's been predicted and prophesied. They told us it was coming. I think COVID was probably a test run of seeing how they can control the world's behavior and people. They know they're getting ready for the Great Reset. So it hasn't gone away. So I do believe still preparing for a potential great taking is vital. Many Christians don't see this though, Josh. And so I'm like, don't go to sleep. Get prepared, have peace of mind. You're going to be fine. You're going to outperform the stock market going forward. And as this bond market chaos unfolds, as the currencies burn down, as they roll over from the Great Reset into the new crypto tokenization world, we will be protected and preserved. And especially with AI coming in, the amount of silver that is needed for all this technology is unbelievable. That is the number one commodity next to crude oil and natural gas that the world is fighting over. China, India, all of them want all the silver they can get because it's what they need for manufacturing. So kind of to end up on this, the last twist of silver, we in the United States may actually allow the silver price to run really high because China is such an industrial base. The higher silver prices will hurt their bottom line. And it's a way we can combat them using gold to break down our currency. So this is deep stuff behind the scenes. It's happening. They're doing it right now. You could see the information in the East. If you study the Chinese and the media and the financials, what's going on, you see what they're doing. China's using gold against the dollar. We may use silver against their manufacturing, but either way, they continue to rise in value because remember, gold and silver don't go up. The currencies go down because gold and silver is the only real money, not just constitutionally, but biblically. Everything else is credit. And being that we're walking into the most epic credit bubble of all time in history, you better be on the right side of the fence because it's all going to unfold over the next couple years. And if you position yourself properly, you will absolutely appreciate what you're doing because then you'll be preserved. And to me, that's how the kingdom stays viable because we have the wealth to then share to ministries, spread to our neighbors and friends and help. Because if we get wiped out, what good is that going to do the kingdom, right?
You know, no one gets into full-time ministry to make money. At least no one should. Given that, Daily Renegade accepts donations from those who care to help keep us going. Now, because Daily Renegade does not want to be told by the government what we can and can't say, we're not 501c3, so your donations are not tax deductible, but that's not why you're giving anyway, to get something back for yourself. Speaking of which, we here are never going to promise that if you donate, God will reward you with even more financial success. We're not about making promises for God here. But what I can promise is your donations are very much appreciated and help the continuation of everything we do here at Daily Renegade to reach the world with the truth of the Bible. Also, as many of you know, my son Nathan has had some very serious medical issues that we are treating with good, all-natural and holistic remedies. But of course, those are very expensive and are not covered by insurance, so your donations help go towards his health care as well. If you can't afford to donate, you can always donate your time in prayer, which is far more valuable anyway. Let's be serious. So pray for our wisdom, pray for God's guidance for us, and that we never lose focus on what's really important, which is using Daily Renegade as a light of truth that the world so desperately needs right now, especially in these times. As always, thank you so much for your generosity, and I pray God blesses you greatly.
That's absolutely right. Yeah, and it's really important too because God says that my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. So this is why we got to know this stuff, and all of it's laid out before us, so we can see what's going on. We just need to know, where to look, who to pay attention to, and what's coming, and especially with how fast this is coming. You said in May, some of these regulations once they get, yeah. So I mean, we're right there at the door. Now where the door is going to be open to a lot of this stuff, the beginning of the Great Reset, which, it could turn into one world government, one world currency stuff. But before we get there, there's a way to actually protect ourselves through this. So for the average person who's just sitting at home now and they're wondering what they could do today, what would you recommend? And maybe this is a great segue where you could talk a little bit about Cornerstone.
I would definitely go to Cornerstone and register for the Wealth Transfer Guide. There's a wonderful digital ebook that they can register for and get it downloaded to them. And then the nice part is not only is it filled with wonderful information about what's going on and what's coming, but then you get into an email chain where you'll receive videos like once or twice a week of information of what's going on that you're not hearing about in the mainstream. By doing that, you can also then contact with a representative at Cornerstone. You can start discussing options. They're there to help educate, to help, answer questions, especially with IRAs, annuities, 401ks. They're very, very knowledgeable on doing that. And they will actually help walk you through getting your assets protected and be there for the long haul. So I would sign up for that book. I would give Cornerstone a call. start, if anything, a conversation with a representative. If somebody has a significant amount of money, inheritances or strange situations going on, they could reach out to me directly, Josh. If they come through the portal and say, could I please talk to Terry? I'd be more than happy to. I operated with 5 financial licenses. I understand that stock market, more than a financial advisor does. I'm more educated than they are, with licensing anyway. And so I would be more than happy, because I handle kind of the complicated ones, and I would be happy to get someone properly positioned and give them at least an opinion and advice on what they could do and how to do it. And it's not all just about gold and silver. Crypto is very important too. But right now, a vast bulk should be gold and silver protected, and then take a smaller portion and get it into the crypto, take advantage of those profits. But I think contacting Cornerstone Asset Metals is a good start. Just start a conversation. We've all heard, Josh, for so many years, oh, the world is collapsing, the earth is, the sky is falling, and blah, blah. I mean, in all these companies, in all these big gold companies, they just rip you off so bad. I mean, they'll charge 90% premiums when it should be 15%. It's just weird. But they're just taking advantage of people's lack of knowledge. And so, I'm a real proponent of, God said, I am the lamp unto your feet. Seek me, trust in me with all your heart, lean not on your understanding, but acknowledge me. He will guide our path. He will give us wisdom and understanding. And then I say, have discernment, because there is so much out there that is false. And you're right, good sources of information. And so the nice part is, if they do get the wealth guide, they'll get introduced to my podcast, Rigged, which I put out maybe once a week or so. I just do updates financially about, subject matter you're not hearing anywhere else usually. And it helps you kind of learn the process. And I think having that relationship is really important. And getting those updates are important, because if anything, you're going to get information you're not getting usually everywhere else. We're not single valued here. We understand, I do specifically, the whole financial system. I know the commodities. I know what's going on with the Great Reset. I know what they're doing. And Trump has got the plan, but we got to walk through this fire first. And if we do it right, we in the kingdom will benefit greatly.
Amen. Well, for everybody out there, I highly suggest you check that out. I have all the information. I'm sure you've seen it on the screen several times already, but it's also all in the description below. The website, cornerstoneassetmetals.com, and the phone number is all there. And, like many of you know who follow this channel, I don't really promote a whole lot of companies, like hardly ever, because I only want to promote things that are going to be helpful to you. I feel like, me being in the position that I am in ministry, I'm here to serve the audience. You're not here to serve me. I'm here to serve you. So I want to bring people on that actually have something that can really help. And I really, truly believe in Cornerstone Asset Metals. I've been working with them for years and years now. And we're all good friends. We know each other personally. And it's the only, actually right now, besides maybe Prophecy Watchers or some other ministry, but it's the only actual company that I really promote on this channel in this way, because I believe in it so much. So I highly suggest everybody out there at least give it a chance. Get some free information. There's nothing really to risk there. But like I've said, I've used Cornerstone for years, and it's absolutely top notch, best in the business, and most trustworthy, because they're doing it for the right reasons. They're doing it for the kingdom, for us Christians as brothers and sisters in Christ. So that's what it's all about. Terry, thank you so much for coming on again and talking with us, giving us this update, and for doing these updates every couple of months. I really appreciate it, and I know the audience does.
And important thing, Josh, is I can come in and fill all these prophecies. So many of them have been pretty, accurate. And biblically, even, we know at the end times they call for this world order. I mean, we get it. But I think what's interesting is I come in with the actual mechanical, technical data of what they're really doing that actually supports the prophetic word of what people are saying. So we're working together. I'm putting the details to the prophecy, and we're actually complementing one another. And I think together we in the kingdom can conquer. And to me, that's all that matters. God made it clear to me, get my people ready for what is coming, and I am not going to stop until he tells me otherwise.
Amen. That's what the body of Christ is all about. And we're right there with you, doing anything that we can to help you out in that mission, because we believe in it too. And again, Terry, thank you so much for coming back on.
God bless you, Josh.
God bless you too, and God bless all of you viewing. Thank you so much. And until next time, love you all. Take care and God bless.
Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Sharpening Report. You know, if you are a Bible-believing Christian who opposes the kingdom of darkness trying to run the world right now, then you are a renegade to the satanic system. We here at Daily Renegade wear that badge proudly. So, if you're a renegade as well, head on over to dailyrenegade.com right now and get a membership today. You'll get our full catalog of Sharpening Report episodes and Daily Renegade update videos on topics such as Bible prophecy, science, technology, the Nephilim, aliens, and so much more. All of our episodes at Daily Renegade are early access, so as a member, you'll get the videos before anyone else does. Daily Renegade also offers videos not available anywhere else due to social media censorship. We also have a community page only for members where we can all fellowship together without fear of censorship. It's basically the best of Facebook and YouTube rolled into one without any of the garbage. Memberships are only $10 a month or $100 a year, and if you can do it, I suggest getting the $100 a year because it's cheaper in the long run, and essentially you get 2 months for free that way. So come join our family of renegades at dailyrenegade.com right now. The link is in the description below, and we'll see you there.